2002, there are a truly eclectic group of films. There is David Cronenberg's Spider, playing a schizophrenic man in that. There is a serial killer apprentice in Red Dragon, prequel to The Silence of the Lambs. There is Made in Manhattan, rom-com, you and J-Lo. You were doing it all. I guess any comments on your 2002?
All very different.
Yes.
Well, look, David Cronenberg, a great director, and again, a wonderful experience to work with. I guess you mentioned all these films. They're all very different directors, and I've wanted talking about what is it that makes a film's the act. What is the thing? I guess I'm thinking that when actors have an arena on a place on a film set where they are given permission, and it's not something you can say. It's a feeling. It's an atmosphere. And David Cronenberg is wonderfully economic in what he says, which I learned a lot. I've attempted since then to direct some films, and if I remember two energies, or three, I think it would be Steven Spielberg's incredible knowledge of film and his energy. I can remember Anthony Minghella's wonderful, nurturing way of talking to actors and getting them to go a bit further, but being quite involved with speaking to actors in depth about, or suggesting, or a kind of intimacy of communication. And David Cronenberg being very economical, just saying well, this is the set, maybe just play the scene, not being at all specific. So you'd play a scene and he would say, yeah, maybe you'd stay there and the camera's here. And then they would set up the shot and you'd come in and he would just say, yep, good, go again. When he had two good takes, he would say, fine. And that was his rhythm. And I got to really love it. He trusted what I was doing. And I remember I played this very troubled schizophrenic guy, and I had a certain physicality for him. And one day I thought I would do a thing. I think some people, I've seen the people who have nervous issues, they kind of, their leg can go like that and jiggle. And I thought, I'll just try this thing, do this. And I'd never done it before. And he said, "Cut. Why are you doing that thing with your leg? You haven't done it before. Don't do it." So he was on it all the time. He just was, he was absolutely on it. And anyway, it was a great experience.
This brings us to he who shall not be named except now, Lord Voldemort, in 4 Harry Potter films, starting with Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, 2005. That was Mike Newell, and then 3 others directed by David Yates. You initially had no great interest in the Harry Potter literary or cinematic universes, right? What won you over?
Well, that was true. I just was ignorant. I hadn't seen the films in order to dislike them. I just hadn't seen them, and I hadn't read the books. I was aware of their big success. I think I was probably guilty of a sort of totally misplaced snobbery about, witches and goblins and things. But I was approached to play Voldemort, and there was a wonderful casting director in London called Mary Selway, who's a fantastic woman and a great believer in actors and a great supporter of actors, and certainly there were actors she really supported and loved. And I had known Mary. In fact, she had produced Wuthering Heights, and I had always liked her very much. Very strong, very, very direct, would take no bullshit. And actually, she was ill. She was ill, and in a way that she was knew that she had not very long to live. and she persisted in pressuring me to play Voldemort. And I was resistant until I told my sister Martha that I've been asked to play this Voldemort person. She said, Voldemort? You've been asked to play Voldemort. You have to do it. Rafe, you don't realize. This is it. It's the man. It's their big antagonist. It's everything is about Voldemort. I said, okay, I'm in.
That's great. And not to the exclusion of other things, because that same year as your first Harry Potter was also the White Countess, the last of the Merchant Ivory films, a great one, and The Constant Gardener. Fernando Meirelles coming off of City of God, adapting John le Carré's novel. And in this case, I know you've given a lot of credit to the now late producer, Simon Channing Williams, who had been most closely associated with Mike Leigh's movies, but really made it possible for you guys to shoot this in Kenya, right?
Yeah, Simon Channing Williams produced The Constant Gardener. From an early stage in the development of this film, he had asked me to play the role before he had a director. And Fernando came on. That was very exciting because we thought, given the kind of legacy of Englishness that's in le Carré's films, how great it would be to have a non-English eye on the story. And Fernando's wonderful sense of immediacy and realism in the way he shoots. But I developed a particular friendship with Simon, who went on. He said, I want to produce your first film as a director. And there was a lovely film script he had, and we went on location scouts, and I started a process. He couldn't, in the end, get the money to make this film, which was a sadness, but it gave me a kind of foothold of confidence to want to direct my first film, which was Coriolanus.
And that we will come to, and terrific. And I'll just note that didn't really set up The Constant Gardener, but essentially a mild-mannered diplomat who learns that his wife has been killed under circumstances that lead him to go looking into what happened. And I will note that there is a 1.5-minute shot in that film that stays on your face after Danny Houston's character breaks the news to you that your character's wife has, in all likelihood, been killed. It's a very heartbreaking and powerful scene. I went back and watched it today just to refresh. And I guess I wonder, with that scene and with that film in general, did you know where the camera was going to be? I mean, it seems like he shoots in an unconventional way. I mean, but to know that, I guess, I don't know if it might have been more daunting to know that you're going to be in a 1.5-minute shot on your face and so many things are going on. Just what was it like talk about the way that Meirelles shot that?
Yeah, well, Fernando had a wonderful cinematographer, César Charlone, who they had an incredibly flexible style. So I think you can imagine mostly cameras are set up, and as an actor, you get to understand that for this shot, the camera's there and it's moving in, or it's coming around, or it's static. And you kind of, you become aware of it. You don't want to be too aware of it, but that's the camera, so that's where it is. But with the way Fernando shot with César was the camera, every take, it was different. They had lit their sets so the camera could just move around. And I found it quite releasing because I just had to concentrate utterly on being with the other actor, mostly with the wonderful Rachel Weisz. And so a lot of the time we just had to be with each other and the camera would find us. But that particular scene you're talking about, I can't really remember. But in that one scene, the camera is in quite a specific place. It doesn't move much, I think. But
yeah, no, it's great. We are going to take a look now at Rafe in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, and then in The Constant Gardener, both 2005.